I downloaded and installed your Synclavier Newage Library and I can't get any sound. Don't worry, I RTFM'd so you don't have to. Hi, I'm Stefan. When I released the Synclavier Newage Library, I got my first support call within 24 hours. So let's start by answering that burning question. Why is there no sound? I know how it goes. You get a new library, call up the first preset and start playing. Well, this one is a bit different. Quoting the manual, Synclavier Newage is a self-playing instrument that may not be played directly from a MIDI keyboard. So here's what needs to happen before you'll hear anything. At least one pitch class must be selected. That's the highlighted keys. Run must be enabled. DENS must be set to something higher than 0. Now all of this is actually part of the default setup, but here's what trips people up. Your DAW must be running. Notice this is a blank track, but if I press play, now if this is all you wanted to know, thanks for watching, but if you want to get the most out of this oddball instrument, let's dive deeper. First up, low and high. These set the lowest and highest octaves for note generation, not pitch or key range, octaves. Think of it as narrowing down which part of the Synclavier keyboard you're working with, which spans 5 octaves. Like on the original Synclavier, you press a button to select a parameter, then turn the big knob to tweak it. Really old school, but classic Synclavier style. Next up, DIV and DENS. DIV sets your beat subdivision from whole notes to 30-second notes with triplets in between. 6 is the default, giving you a nice 16th note grid. DENS stands for density, and it's the probability that a note plays on each subdivision. Together, DIV and DENS control how busy or sparse things get. Think of DIV as where can the notes land, and DENS as will it actually happen. Now onto modifiers, where you can further tweak the sound. FM is frequency modulation. Kontakt cannot actually do FM, but it can certainly play samples of FM sounds. You always get an even distribution of samples ranging from 0 to whatever you specify. In other words, from mild sinish tones up to maxed out metallic noise. ENV modifies the attack time. For most scenarios, you will probably never need to tweak this, but it can be useful if you're working at a high tempo and the envelope sounds a bit sluggish. Increasing this value makes the sound more responsive, though you might get some clicks because you are cutting into the samples. Volume and panning aren't static controls. Volume at 0 doesn't mean it's silent, it means 0 randomization, so actually everything is up full. Set volume to some other value and you get that number in percent up to 100%. Similar for panning, at 0 everything comes out dead center. Crank it up to randomly spread notes across the stereo field. The effects section is pretty basic and self-explanatory. The only thing worth noting is that the delay time is always tuned to some number of 16th notes, so it's always in sync. If you prefer to use your own plugins, simply turn down the output of the delay and switch off the plain vanilla reverb. Over on the right, the pitch selector. Red keys are active pitch classes. These are the notes that generator is allowed to pick from. So how do you choose which ones? Of course, you could enable everything, but that would lead to a soup of non-chord tones, not very pretty. Instead, you want to pick a few smart ones that work across your chord progression. So let's say you're working on a typical 4-chord pop song in C major. You will have C, F and G and A minor. Now, instead of selecting the entire C major scale like this, you could try C, D and G. Those overlap nicely with your chords. No clashing tones. As a rule of thumb, 3 active pitch classes is pretty much the sweet spot. Even 1 or 2 might work well. Any more than, say, 4 is probably asking for trouble. Want to control when random notes are triggered or change keys mid-track? Enter MIDI automation. Use the middle octave of your MIDI keyboard to toggle pitch classes on and off. Want to disable note generation completely during the intro? Hit C2 at the start. Want it back on during the verses? Hit C2 again. If you used orchestral libraries with key switching, this is the same idea. I don't want to dive too deep into that right now, but let me know in the comments if you would like a separate tutorial on key switching techniques. Now, as you may have noticed, every time you press play, you get a new performance, which is part of the idea. But what if you need an exact repeat, as in the case of stem exports? No problem, just record the output via a bus into a new audio track. Yes, the Synclavier Newage Library is quite different, but once you get it, you will love how it always comes up with new ideas. If you make something cool with it, please tag me. I would love to hear what you came up with. Leave a comment. Thanks for watching.